Welkom bij het volgende interview voor de Duikvakantie Show. Mijn naam is Patricia van Diving Holidays en ik ga vandaag in gesprek met Rachel Dive. So, hello Rachel, welcome to the interview for the Duikvakantie Show. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Rachel. Thank you for the introduction, Patricia. I am one of the owners of Ritual Dive in Shendy Bay, Gozo. Yes. So basically we own a dive center called Ritual Dive and an associated hotel called the Block Hotel and a front bar restaurant as well that are all located in the same complex in Gozo. So it's kind of nice because we offer the whole package.
The whole package, okay. And how many rooms do you have in the hotel? And like what room types do you have?
So at the moment we've got 20 rooms available. They vary between some smaller rooms to some larger rooms that can be double or twin rooms. The larger rooms will have a balcony. We also have studio apartments, 1-bedroom apartments and 2-bedroom apartments. But at the moment we are in the process of extending the hotel. So hopefully by this time next year, we should also have an additional 22 rooms above the current rooms.
Okay, so there will be a total of like 42 rooms. Yes. And how many guests can you host at one time?
Again, it depends because, for example, in the 1-bedroom apartments, we do have some sofa beds, so they can have the possibility of sleeping 3. The 2-bedroom apartments can sleep up to 4. So it varies depending on how our guests would like to use the rooms.
Okay, and you already mentioned some of the facilities like the bar in the hotel. What else is there to be found?
So basically we've got things like Wi-Fi throughout the hotel, so you can find Wi-Fi in the rooms and in the common areas as well. TVs and fridges are available in all rooms, even the just the single or the double rooms. We do have live music events on, so the bar restaurant does host live music every Wednesday, Friday, and then Sunday we've got more of a lounge DJ night. Also in the area we're very close to the sea, so if you do want to head down and have a little swim, and we are extending the hotel, so again this time next year we will have a rooftop bar lounge swimming pool area as well. But that's there yet.
Yeah, oh, that sounds really nice. And can you tell us something about the menu in the restaurant, like the type of food you serve?
Yes, so we noticed there was a bit of a gap in the market, especially in Gozo. We know nowadays that vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free and special dietary requirements need to be accommodated for even more. So that's basically what we did in the bar restaurant. So we have vegan breakfast, vegetarian breakfast, we can cater for gluten-free, and that's sort of what we're known for at the moment, basically catering to individual dietary requirements. Okay. We've got breakfast options that are vegan, vegetarian, and even dinner options. Got things like tapas, which go very nicely with cocktails or a glass of wine. So there.
Okay, that sounds really good. And I know you're close to the bay. Are there any other restaurants close by as well to have like an evening out?
There's loads of different restaurants, so you're not limited to one choice. So it's not as if you come to our complex and it's just our bar restaurant. There's a whole row of restaurants along Shendy Bay front. There's some in the back streets. There's a couple right on top of the hill as well. So there's plenty of different places for everyone to go and try out. And now our supermarket has expanded as well. So our local supermarket has expanded. And if you want to cook in the apartments as well, you can even do a little local shop here too.
Okay, that's really nice. And okay, so the supermarket is close by. And if you want to do anything else, like a trip on the island, do you really need a rental car for it?
So you don't necessarily need a rental car. Obviously, it's easier to get around with a rental car, but you can buy a bus pass. The bus tickets are €2 to €2.50 maximum, and that's per journey, or you buy sort of a week pass. They run very regularly, so they run every hour from Schlendi, and they go all over the island. Other options are e-scooters. So they are electrical scooters. Basically, you just download an app and you can rent them. There's also the e-cars. So you don't necessarily have to rent out the car. You can rent out the e-car instead. So if you want to do a short trip or park up in Victoria, that's not a problem. Or there's e-bikes as well. So there's plenty of different options.
Okay. Many options to choose from if you want to see more of the beautiful island of Gozo. What can you tell us about the diving days at Ritual Dive, and can you tell us some more about Ritual Dive Center?
Yes, so basically we do a maximum of 3 dives during the daytime. So we start off at Ritual Dive. We meet up at 8 o'clock in the morning. We pack all our bags, so instructors will get divers to try on equipment if they need it. We'll get everything packed away, and then we'll jump in one of our trucks and head out for a 2-dive morning. So that can be anywhere on the island, north coast, south coast, again, depending on the weather. And then we usually arrive back here about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Then there's a nice break for lunch. So between 1 and 2 o'clock, you get a little break where you can go grab some food. And then if you want to go out for another dive in the afternoon, that runs between 2 and 4:30, 5 o'clock. If you're super keen, we do have a night dive as well. And the start time for that varies, because in summer it gets dark much later, in winter it gets dark much earlier as well. So that's basically the possibility of up to 4 dives. For anyone who's doing courses, the schedule varies a little bit more depending on the course. But if you're doing an entry-level course like open water, we have got an on-site training pool available with a shallow and a deep end, which is awesome. So enough time to acclimatise to conditions while in the shallow end, and the deep end is big enough, it's 3 meters deep, to actually have a proper swim around and find out what diving is actually like. We do also run some boat trips, so mainly it is shore diving in Malta and Gozo. But we tend to try and run at least 1 boat trip a week. In previous occasions during high season, so July, August and September, we've sometimes even run 2 a week, and they tend to go to Comino. We have been to other places like Fungus Rock, that's near the Blue Hole, but we do this on request as well, so it depends where everyone would like to go to and what sites we think are going to be good that day.
Okay, and how many divers per guide, and is there always a guide joining?
Yes, so there's always a guide, and obviously they're all highly trained and skilled, and we make sure that they have in-house training as well to make sure that everything's in line. And we take a maximum of usually 4 to 5. 5 would be the absolute maximum. We tend to prefer to stick to 4 per group. 5 is usually only on request if it's a larger group of people. We do also sometimes have an assistant join. We run a dive master internship program here. So sometimes there may even be an assistant to help out within that group of 4 or 5 as well.
Okay, okay. And can you tell us more about the shore diving in Gozo? How does it look like? What type of island is it? What kind of dives? Can you tell something about entering the water?
Yes, of course. So you've got places like Schlendi Bay, which is where we're based. That's just a nice sloping, easy entry. And again, the dive itself is basically a shore dive, so it's nice and sloping. There's no drop-offs or anything like that, so it's a easy entry. Some of the entries are a little bit more challenging, but again, our instructors always help divers in and out of the water. For example, the Cathedral Cave dive, which is awesome. Basically, you surface in this amazing big dome-shaped structure during the dive, so it's 100% worth going to. There's quite a long ladder going up and down, but what our instructors will do is we've even carried gear in and out of the water for our divers. The number one thing is everyone enjoys their dive, and that their entry and exits are safe as well. Some exits are giant stride too. For example, if we do the Rex at Chat-la-Mar, that you can also do via giant stride entry. Basically, for any entry, the instructor will show the divers first and make sure that everyone gets in and out safely.
Yeah, to see it first and then confident enough to enter the water. Okay. And what can you tell us about diving on the house reef in Schlendie Bay?
So Schlendie Bay, often people think because it's Schlendie Bay, there's not going to be very much to see, or you can just see it by snorkeling. But it's actually rated as one of the best dive sites in Gozo. It's really cool because there's a number of different species of marine life. So again, along the nice sloping bottom, you can see things like octopus, cuttlefish. As you get a little bit further out into the bay, some flying gurnards, and maybe a little school of teeny tiny barracuda as well. And there's also a really cool tunnel. It's not a long tunnel, it's more of a sort of swim through. Obviously, a little bit more experience is needed for that. We wouldn't take anyone in on, say, courses, but for fun divers with a few dives under their belt, it's awesome for photos. So it's a great spot to take those photos with your GoPro, or we do have a professional photographer and videographer on site, and he can come out and snap some photos of you. And basically, it's a really cool dive because you go through the tunnel and then you come round and back into the bay. And there's a lovely little pinnacle about 18 to 20 meters at the end as well, with quite a bit of marine life.
Yes. And is a check dive necessary on arrival? And if so, it happens in Schlendie Bay?
So the check dive doesn't necessarily happen in Schlendie Bay. So what we find is when people arrive, we explain the difference between a check dive and a refresher dive. Usually the refresher dive is if the person hasn't been diving in more than 6 months to 1 year. And if they're open waters with, say, less than 50 dives, for example, that's when we would recommend the refresher. The check dive is simply just a shallower dive to make sure everything's okay, make sure weighting's okay, make sure you're comfortable in the equipment. So there's not an actual skills review in the check dive. It's simply to make sure that you're comfortable diving in the equipment and in the environment. It doesn't have to happen in Schlendie Bay. We can do it at places like Middle Finger, which is also known as Russell Hobbs. We've done them at Tachench, Imjarashini. Again, they're all shallower sites with still lots of stuff to see. So no, it doesn't necessarily have to happen in the bay.
And those are spots like with easy entries and
exactly. To start.
Yeah, to start with. Okay. And can we rent equipment at Ritual Dive?
Yes. So we've got equipment that we purchased very recently, so it's pretty much all brand new. Something that's really cool that we absolutely love is we can rent out backplate and wings, which really help with divers trim and keep people off the bottom as well. And we do find it's a bit more it's just a different way of diving, so it's something that's pretty cool to experience. Basically, we can do full equipment rental, which is either €10 per dive or 15 per day. So if you do multiple dives, it's not increments of 10 each time. Or we can rent single pieces of equipment as well. So we have the full set available for rental.
Okay, and do you also have night trucks available?
Yes, so we do have night trucks available. It's an additional charge of €5 per fill. And what we do is we usually recommend which dives to do on night trucks. For example, maybe the deeper wrecks, we would suggest using night trucks on them. But again, it's up to the divers. Whoever wants night trucks, we can fill it up to any percentage they would like, up to 40%.
Okay. And I know you give dive lessons according to the rate system. Do you still use the SSI system as well?
Yes, so we focus mainly on SSI and RAID as systems. The reason we do this is because we find them more modern systems to use. So basically everything's online and everything's digital. The divers get the material for life and they can learn at their own pace. And if any updates to the material are made, the divers automatically get the updates. And we find they're more practical courses. So it's more, let's do the theory before we get here, do a little review when we arrive, and then let's get in the water and let's dive. Because at the end of the day, they're here to dive, not rather than sit in a classroom.
Yeah, and study. Yeah.
So that's why we tend to focus a lot more on those two agencies. For things like technical diving, we do offer other agencies as well on request.
Okay, good to hear. Can you tell us more about the underwater world in Gozo?
Yes, so having come from a more tropical environment, so I was originally working as a dive instructor in Thailand. Obviously, Thailand, Koh Tao, it's all about the marine life and the fish there. Over in Gozo, as soon as I started diving here, which was surprisingly quite late in my diving career, I was just amazed by the clarity of the water. The visibility is incredible here. Even on a day with bad viz, it's not actually bad viz, we're a little bit spoiled.
Yeah.
And also just the amazing underwater landscape. It's all about the rock structures, the topography, the little swim-throughs and the caves, and just that amazing blue water. That's actually where the ritual blue color comes from. We stole it from the ocean around us.
Yes. And do you have a favorite dive place yourself?
Yes, my favorite spot is definitely the Kawela wreck. Wrecks are my thing. What I love about the Kawela is it's just some people who have done a little bit of research may have heard about the staircase. Not only is it the perfect spot for a photo, but I could, if time allowed, I would be able to just sit there and stare at that staircase all day. I like the history behind wrecks, and also it's just a really cool way to bring in more marine life and create a little underwater environment too.
Yes, we agree on that one. And which place should we definitely not miss when we dive with ritual dive?
So there's lots of them, but the one that we tend to get the request for most would be the Blue Hole and the Inland Sea.
Blue Hole and Inland Sea. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. They are the top spots. Again, the arch, so the azure window that was near the Blue Hole, that collapsed. But again, that's created an amazing underwater mountain range. It literally looks like a mountain range underwater. In fact, they're called the Azure Alps now. And it's just beautiful to be able to swim through the Blue Hole. And there's about 4 or 5 different dives. So you could dive there on multiple days, and it's always going to be a different dive because there's plenty of routes to take.
Okay. Oh, good to hear. Thank you so far, and we will now watch a beautiful video and back to you afterwards.
Thank you.
I would do anything just to get you back again. I would do anything at all. I know I'm not innocent, you deserve a better man, but let me just hold your hand once more. Ooh, 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 I wanna take you out. Ooh, 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 show you what I'm all about. Ooh, 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 make up for what we lost. Tonight is the night that we're gonna fall in love. I don't care about you and him, I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin, cause we're still sleeping in my head. I don't care about you and him, I don't care about what has been. I only care about your soft skin, cause we're still sleeping in my head.
Okay, well, that was a very nice impression of the beautiful island of Gozo and its underwater world. So I have a few questions left for you. For which type of diver is Gozo a perfect destination?
So honestly, Gozo's the perfect destination for any type of diver. Basically, if you're an entry-level diver, so you're either choosing to do a tri-dive, so your first time ever diving, or you don't hold a certification, or you want to do your open water course, There's plenty of different spots. For example, Shlendi Bay is perfect to do so. Mjarashini, again, another nice, easy sloping bay with shallow spots to see. More experienced divers, we have places such as the wrecks. We've got the Comino land, the Carwella and the Shlendi wreck. These would be 40-meter dive sites.
Okay.
It's perfect to do technical training as well. Somewhere like Russell Hobbs has got a shallow plateau, and open water level divers can dive there, and then it drops down to 60 meters. So it's perfect for technical training. So what we love about Gozo is that it's got something for everyone.
Okay, and for snorkelers as well?
Yes, definitely for snorkelers too. In fact, what we're looking into doing this coming season is offering some more snorkel tours. We do find that snorkeling is something that's almost underrated. Snorkeling is like the first step towards diving.
Yes.
So we want to encourage people to do it a lot more, because there are some beautiful spots as well to see from the surface.
Yes. Yes, indeed. And it's also nice for like a combination. If you have like a family with divers and non-divers, they have their fun. And can you tell us more about the sites for photographers?
Yes. So our photographer describes Gozo as a photography paradise. Since moving here from Thailand, he's had a lot more to play around with, different angles, obviously the caves looking out into that lovely blue sort of silhouettes, the marine life as well. The little nudie banks, they're always awesome to photograph. So Gozo is definitely a hot spot as well for photographers and videographers too.
Okay.
And we've also started running some photography and videography courses in-house. Our professional videographer runs them too. So if anyone's keen to explore a little bit more and maybe enhance and develop their skills, he does courses all the way up to professional level.
Oh, that sounds really good. And can he also join on a dive if somebody says like, okay, I don't make the photos myself, but I would love to have some nice photos. Can he join during dives?
Yes, 100%. He can come along, and the divers have a choice of 1 dive or 2 dive packages or multi-dive packages if they want. And they have a choice of photo or video, or they can have a little mix of both as well.
Okay. And what is the plan at Ritual Dive when a diver comes solo?
So whenever any diver walks through the door, the number one thing is that we make them feel welcome and like they are part of the team, because that's what we always feel like. So when they come in and they sign up, what we like to do is we always try and group our divers together. So we will group them up with another buddy, and basically they'll go out for their day, and basically we make them feel like they're not traveling solo, like they're traveling with their friends.
With friends.
Exactly. After the diving day, we always sit outside, have a drink, have some food together. So it's a nice little community feeling.
Okay. And can we dive all year at Gozo?
Yes, so this is something that not a lot of people know about. Actually, winter diving here is a lot more mild than other locations. For example, at the moment, the sea temperature is about 15 degrees. And it will drop down to absolute maximum of about 13 degrees. So it never gets too cold. So we get a few people asking for dry suit courses here. So people are booking on for dry suit courses, and we can also do like nice combinations with a dry suit. And also technical courses. We get quite a few requests for technical courses in the winter time. And recreational courses can be done as well. So we're trying to encourage people more to book during this time, because the visibility is actually even better in winter, assuming the weather's right. Up until January, the weather's fairly stable. Between January and March, sometimes we get the rainier days or the windier days, but we still get a lot of lovely sunshine as well.
Okay. And do you have any nice excursions for the divers and non-divers if they are not diving or not snorkeling?
So there's lots of different things that we can plan and we can organise. There's Segway tours, there's mountain biking, rock climbing, there's kayaking. So there's plenty of. Gozo is basically an adventure island, and what we always say is when we have guests stay here, we try and make any sort of excursion possible within reason.
Okay, and do you have any tips for them when they decide to come to Gozo? What is a must-see on the island?
So there's loads of different spots. Basically, what we do is we make a little list for our explorers when they come over. The must-see is obviously the Citadel in Victoria, which is just awesome. There's amazing views from right on top, and you can look out over all of Gozo. Although we have lost the Azure Arch, we do actually have another arch. It's in Weirtamila, so everyone can get some photos over there. Honestly, the Blue Hole in Inland Sea is amazing to see from the land too. You can actually go to the inland sea and you can jump on a little boat that takes you around all the little caves. Going to the Blue Lagoon in Comino for a day, because our boat trips actually don't go to the Blue Lagoon because it's a bit too shallow for diving. But you can go and snorkel in the crystal clear blue waters. And I could keep going on forever.
Yeah.
So,
well, it sounds really good. We will show some photos afterwards for everybody to see. And for now, I would like to thank you for this interview and stay safe at Gozo.
yeah, thank you very much, Patricia, and you too. Hopefully we'll see you soon.